may be too late. Too late. Too late. Too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, let's bring Peaceman in right now. I hope he's listening and notices that I'm bringing him in. He's there. Hello, Dana. Earth to Peaceman. This is the mothership. Over. Your microphone is muted. You have to unmute your mic.
There we go.
There we are. How are you tonight, my friend?
I'm a little tired, so excuse me a bit on that. Just put a little peace sign in your chat there, so that's what you caught me doing.
No problem. So before we get started, are there any publication bans still in place on your case, or have they been lifted now that the trial has commenced?
Anything that has been brought up so far, I can speak of because it's now public knowledge. So that's what we're going to discuss today on what happened today.
Okay. And this is a little bit unusual because I wasn't there, so I'm sort of relying on you to just give your own account for us, in terms of what did happen in court today. But let's just back up a bit for people who maybe aren't familiar with your case and explain what it is that you were charged with. First of all, why are you in court?
Well, the little 2-minute story is I live up in the bush, as everybody knows, and I seen Canadians finally emerging from their homes, and I had nothing to do or didn't know anybody in a convoy. I was just a citizen that felt the need to go in personal, peaceful protest at the same time that this was happening and get to know other Canadians that are not afraid to speak up. So with my background, I decided what I would do is just stand on Parliament Hill and in peace, in non-movement for 10 hours a day for as long as it takes to get dialogue with our government. I was not there personally to have mandates removed. I have publicly put out the calls that I need, and kind of the reason why I get targeted, I think, because I have been requesting documents from the government for about a decade. I'm suing the government 6 years in. I'm a government employee. I noticed this TikTok scientist put a thing up there today, and people are commenting, do any of these freedom people have jobs? Well, I'd like to inform you, I'm a government employee currently still. So even though I got sick, and this led all up to the massive changes that happened in our country. So I was a whistleblower in 2014, and it has progressed since then, I'll tell you that much. When these two federal mandates came out, I put in ATIP requests to the DOJ.
What is an ATIP request? Can you explain what that is for folks?
Our access to information in Canada. So atip.ca or whatever. It costs $5.
Privacy, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it costs $5. Any Canadian citizen can do it. And it is the tools that we hold our government accountable. So I put on August 13th of 2021, Justin Trudeau went in a live scrum and had said that he was going to bring 2 federal mandates. I had also recorded on June 26th of the same year from him, we will never have mandates. So I found that this was very contradictory. And that's one thing that I see sometimes in people. If they contradict, then there's something wrong. So I immediately I put in an ATIP request into the legal validity and path filed at the DOJ to make these legal in Canada. Now, that was in September of 2021. In access to information, they have to answer you within 30 days. But they're kind of I don't know if it's an excuse or whatever, but they're saying that they're backlogged and don't have enough money and all of this stuff. But that is our tools to hold accountability. So I held them. I'm tenacious. Okay, you know it.
Yes, that's true.
And I back up what I say with documentation. I always have. I'm a words guy, you know. So they did not. What they did was they sent me an email and they said there's two choices: extension or hold. And they sent me an email and they said you have 2 hours to respond. And and I live up in the bush. I don't get my emails right away. So it within the hour, not even the hour up, an extension was placed of 1,875 days. That is 5 years, folks, just to find out whether those mandates were legal. Now, the DOJ told me that nobody has asked this. No lawyer, no government official, no investigative reporter. Nobody has asked for this information in the way that I did it. Now, you know that I have put these documents online, on my website. It's up to you to put it up. And it's under the tab ATIP. So I can go through all of that, but that is one of the things that could create a target. Okay? And a few other things. So what happened is that I argued that they did not follow the ATIP Act, which is law in Canada. And in the Act, it talks about fairness. And do you think it's fair if they give you a 2-hour window and not just do whatever they wanted to do? Like if they wouldn't have even emailed me and just put it on, I probably wouldn't have had an argument. So because once an extension is placed, I don't know if it's true, but the DOJ told, or the OIC, Office of the Information Commissioner, told me that okay, so the Office of the Information Commissioner, I put a complaint in when they put the extension on, and they told me there's no reversal way to reverse them.
Yeah, we're getting into kind of the nitty-gritty technicalities of the process.
There's no way to reverse it. So anyways, I recorded the call with the DOJ saying that there was no way to reverse it, and I told her, I will teach you how to do it. In 10 days, I had that extension reversed. I was told I'm the only person known to have an extension reversed in Canada with no lawyers and no courts. So that was a win for me.
But Dana, is this why you're in court?
Well,
what are you charged with? What are the charges?
People think, they say, Dana, you're doing a lot of things and you mix it all up in together. But you have to remember that everything is connected. Everything
I get that. I understand. But so that people can understand what happened today,
what are the
charges? What are you charged with?
So what I did was when I went to Ottawa, I stood on Parliament Hill. I moved down because I seen a lot of jokers dancing around in front of the trucks, and I decided to stand where the police directed me to on Wellington Street. And it was deemed a legal protest. Remember that. So I stood I went purposely in the most peaceful form I could, not breaking any laws, because I knew that shenanigans were going to happen. So I wanted to protect myself and protect Canadians by holding them to account if anything happened.
Yeah.
So I wore cameras on my head and everything, and there's 45 hours of footage nobody has seen because
Okay,
I can't.
but again, what are you charged with?
I'm getting to that.
Sorry, I don't mean to,
Four
rush
charges.
you.
4 charges of mischief. One is disobeying a court order, but it doesn't specify which one. Mischief, resisting arrest, which is absolutely false because my arrest was videoed in every angle possible, and I asked to leave. One is just called mischief, but they're saying that because of this Emergencies Act, that I was warned of this Emergency Act. But there is absolutely no proof that I was warned or told to leave the area. There is no proof of that. So I stood up and I said, well, I'm going to hold you to account. I'll take it to trial. They offered me several deals, sir, several deals. And I am not guilty. I maintain my innocence, and I maintain that protesting is a healthy democracy.
Okay.
So
that'll make sense. That'll make sense as to where we're at. So what happened in court today? When
I got there, I was on 2 different dockets at 10 a.m. And then they said, no, forget that one. You're on this one, courtroom 1. I go in and they don't have a judge to do my trial. So they've had 2 years to prepare. I had to be prepared by today. If I wasn't prepared by today, there'd be a warrant for my arrest. Okay. So I showed up prepared with a fantastic lawyer, and she did absolutely wonderful today. So they said there's no judge. We're going to have to remand and see if we can get one this afternoon. So I get called back into court at 2 p.m. and we get there. There's still no judge to start my trial. So my trial has not started yet, but my lawyer argued that I should have the travel restrictions removed. There were 2 travel restrictions on me. One is to not be within 1 kilometer of any parliamentary district building, and the other one is a red zone, they call it. Bronson to the Queensway, bunch of garbage. So I haven't broken my conditions or anything. And I've been a good citizen always, no criminal record, lots of good things. And I want to stand on that. I want to stand on that merit.
Sure. So did they lifted the travel restriction today?
Well, it's all in court, so I can talk about it. It's very funny. They made an agreement with my lawyer to lift the 2 restrictions, but when they stood up and went to talk to the judge, they said, we agree to lift these 2 restrictions, but we want to add one that he can't go on Wellington Street. And my lawyer stood up and said, Dana-Lee needs to be in the downtown area for this case, and we have agreed to remove the restrictions already. You can't add one now. And so the judge agreed and said, no, I think she's correct. So do you accept on removing these restrictions, not just for the time of court, but absolute removing them? So they reluctantly said yes. So that was a win for me because I was born in Ottawa, and it has really peeved me off that I cannot do my peaceful protest at a time when it's really, really needed on our Parliament Hill. At a time when we need to have dialogue and we need to have civil dialogue. And, the before any Canadian reached Ottawa during that time, they were all demonized and everything. And a lot of things came out of it, like slang words that the prime minister put on us, but that was adopted. And I didn't really agree with it. I don't like to use his language. So, uh, people might call me a bit stringent, but they're not seeing the big picture on not using vulgarity, not using all of these things that they will use against you. Right. And it's funny because the Freedom kind of family has used that against me for saying that I don't like it. And so it's a two-way, it's a very tricky thing that we're trying to do here on holding accountability, on my voice. I've always tried to reach all Canadians, all humans. And that's the point of being Peaceman. I did not name myself Peaceman. It happened live on a show on Live from the Shed with 20,000 people watching that they came up with that name. So, because there was a lot of different names people were calling me at first. So we had to nail it down, right?
People call me a lot of names too.
So my name is Dana-Lee, and I decided to go with Peace-Man. Mm-hmm. And it all made sense. So, and recently, luckily enough, nobody took that name on Facebook, and I was able to grab it just a few weeks ago.
Good for you. Good for you. So those restrictions lifted, but your trial didn't start today. So when will you be back in court? Tomorrow? Will it commence tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll tell you, right after I left that courtroom, which was remanded till tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., courtroom 1, I could use some support from Canadians.
Sure.
But the first thing I did, Rick, after I was done that today, was I took a walk downtown. And I walked up to Parliament Hill and I recorded a 2-minute video. And it explains very well, my feelings. And that's posted on my Twitter, my Facebooks, and on YouTube. Okay. Tomorrow we go. And it's funny because nobody was reporting my case, like court reporters or anything like that. So what I did was I was doing it myself on my media. And I was never a media guy before. I was for my pictures. Like, I'm a photographer all my life. So my pictures were very, very popular before Peaceman. I have 7.4 million views or something like that. And that's no small number. I worked hard at that. Mm-hmm. So some of those are kind of intertwined with what I do now. And I appreciate that, because if I didn't have that, it would be very hard for me to have support because of what has transpired over this 2 years. Remember, the process is the punishment.
Yes. That's very true. That is the way they do it. So how can people support you? Because I know that what it really comes down to, as in so many cases involving freedom fighters or people who are at the Convoy or charged in other events and so on, standing up for constitutional rights and freedoms, you've got to cover legal bills, right? So how can people support you, Dana?
So there is a poster on all of my media that shows, yeah, that one. That shows a trust has been set up directly to my lawyer. I received no money. I will tell you exactly how much is in there, and we only started this a couple weeks ago because I thought I was covered. That's a whole different story. We're going to have to get into it another time after this court case.
Sure.
But now I need to try to protect myself here a little bit. So this is a email to my lawyer, and she has collected $1,700 out of 25,000.
Okay,
So
and her email is monic@grenierlaw.ca. So I'm going to put that up on the screen here in a moment as soon as I can type it out. And that's for e-transfers to
password Peaceman.
your password Peaceman. Okay. So monic@grenierlaw.ca.
Monique, and she's a beautiful lawyer. She is very. I mean, I think she won top lawyer in Ottawa, or most liked lawyer in Ottawa 2 years in a row.
Okay, I'm going to type that out for everybody. monic@grenierlaw.ca.
So, and
what was
then
the
I
password
do
again?
have
The
to say a
password
thank
is
you.
yeah, no problem. The password again was what? Peaceman?
Yeah, capitals.
Okay.
I have to thank, there's about 5 people that also, it's expensive to come and stay in the city and do all of this. So I needed some personal help. And about 5 people came together and really helped for this week. But there's going to be more help required. Unfortunately, I'm not very good at asking for help, but right now is the time to ask for help.
I understand. Lawyers are expensive. They're getting rich on on the backs of people who are standing up for Canadians. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's unfortunate, but that's the reality, and that's the process we have to go through. So, monic@grenierlaw.ca, password Peaceman, if you would like to support Dana-Lee Peaceman at as he makes his way through the courts over the next few days here. He's got a $25,000 legal fee to cover approximately. And
I also have put in a challenge to the charges that I won't talk much about. I'll just tell you that there is a challenge that alleges that the arrest, detainment, search, and seizure were all illegally done. They did not follow the law.
So that's what will be dealt with over the next, I guess, probably now this will go on for at least another 4 days, right? Because it was scheduled to go for 4 and it kind of was a misfire today. So we'll get started hopefully tomorrow.
I've been informed that it could go on longer if I hold my ground. So I don't see myself admitting guilt in any way in this. I do not see that happening. Yeah. The deals that they have offered to me, there's still an admission of guilt in every one of them. And that doesn't help anybody hold accountability.
Are you allowed to reveal the details of these deals that they offered you?
There is, yes, because I do believe that they were publicized. Let me think about that for 1 second. Um, no, we're not going to talk about it. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Um, uh,
Yeah. If in doubt, don't say anything. We
yeah,
don't want to make anything worse, right? So
they all came with an admission of guilt of some sort. So I refuse to take that
I understand.
because there is no evidence to this guilt that they say.
Gotcha.
In 2 years, I got to review my disclosure, right? And 2 days before court, they did a late disclosure, a large late disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, I'd like to get all of that evidence thrown out because of if it is an illegal charge, then any evidence is inadmissible.
Can I ask you what you've indicated that a lot of people within the freedom movement have actually been putting up some resistance or friction, and any explanation as to why that is happening?
I can give a simple explanation, Rick. In these times in our world right now, we have globalists trying to do things and stuff like that. And they have planned to destroy any citizen-led movement. That's if you're going to take over the world, you're going to plan to destroy whatever can stop you. So I love everybody in Canada that stood up for good reason. And I tried to show that over the last 2 years by standing in truth, by calling out some bad behavior I seen. You see, in the Freedom Family and in the other side, it doesn't matter what side you're on. If you call out bad behavior, you're the divisive one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't need to prove myself to anybody. I have treated everybody with respect until they didn't do the same. I also trust everybody I meet immediately until I can't trust them. That's the way I live my life. And I'm not going to let people change my being under forked tongue. So, there's a saying I like to say, Rick: internal faith is shown by external actions. Okay? So there's a lot of faith-based people as well. And I love everybody. But I have internal faith, and I show it in my actions. Now, some people don't like those actions. Like I said, even just saying that I don't like a vulgar flag, oh, well, then you're not with us. That's false. You're fighting for rights and freedoms. Just because I say things like that, or I don't want anybody else to speak for me. That is a big, big part of it. And when we went to Ottawa, it was the citizens. Okay. So I asked one question, and it's just taboo to ask this question. So you can find it out. It's out there, but I'm not going to do it on a show. I'm not going to get into stuff like that because that's exactly what they want. And I don't play those games.
Yeah.
I'm very straightforward.
Yeah, it's odd. I've experienced it myself. You stand up, you try to do the right thing, and advocate for moral things, proper things. The difference between right and wrong. And if you want to do the right thing, you're the one that's the problem. It makes no sense, but I totally understand what you're saying. I've been there myself.
Yeah. And it was never my intention to attack anybody.
Yeah.
I literally, actually, more than some, that I was just trying to protect myself. And actually,
yes.
You did a show to help protect me, but it backfired because they use everything they can against you. And you've had to remove that. Imagine a reporter having to remove his stuff because the attacks are so bad.
Yeah, well, it did the job at the time, and doesn't
Well,
need to stay up. So kind of yeah, I know what you're saying. Anyway, we don't want to get into all of that stuff
no,
tonight. It's,
I have no regrets on how I've conducted myself. And I have honestly, when I made the Peaceman Facebook just a few weeks ago, there's now at least almost 3,000 people in there. So I don't
well,
need. I did ask every media on both sides if they would try to bring some awareness as they're fighting for everybody, but it was refused. It was outright refused or not even answered. So that's just the truth. And I don't feel it's very fair because we're here to listen to each other. We're asking for accountability from our government, are we not?
we are. Yes.
So we got to do that as well with each other. And civil conversation goes a long way.
Yes, sir. Sure does. Well, Dana, I guess, we've kind of covered the main things tonight, especially since the trial didn't actually start. So we can probably wrap it up here at this point. And I mean, I'd love to have you on every night while your trial goes on, if you're available, and we can keep people updated and informed. And again, I'll just put that banner up one more time.
It
And
could
if you
really
guys,
help, Rick.
yeah,
And
and
I
if anybody,
appreciate it.
yeah, and if anybody can or wants to support Peaceman, you can donate to him through his lawyer at monic@grenierlaw.ca. Make sure you use the password Peaceman. Otherwise, they will not be able to complete that e-transfer process. You have to do the security question and make sure you put in the word Peaceman for the answer to the question, and then they can complete the transaction. So
Also,
super important.
I'd like to mention that Adopt a Trucker has also done a couple fundraisers for me, and he is still collecting. So if you're on Twitter and you know Adopt a Trucker, he will make sure that that money helps me
Cover your legal bills, hopefully.
no to help me personally travel and
Right.
everything else.
Right. To cover your expenses as you go through this. So there you go. Anything
Yeah.
else you'd like to add tonight, Dana, before we sign off?
I just want to thank everybody that stood up and still standing up in their truth. And if you do not exercise your rights and freedoms, you will lose them. It's fact. And I love you all. And peace.
All right. Dana-Lee, peace, man. We'll check in with you again tomorrow night, sir. Special broadcast tomorrow night, by the way. We're doing a thing about free speech. Sort of an in-depth discussion on that tomorrow night. So I will send you an email and let you know what time would be optimal for you to come on and share your news of the day. And we'll catch up with you on the flip side tomorrow evening. Thank you, Dana.
Absolutely. You have a good night, Rick.
You too. Dana-Lee Melfi, peace man, and we will reconvene with him tomorrow night. Don't go away. Be right back after this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.